Just got back from my New York trip. We have been building the studio, working on the show behind the scenes. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. Listen, we're excited to keep building this, build up the consistency. It can be hard with some of the travel, but you have to respect. You went on CNN. I have to give props. He doesn't want me to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care. This guy went on CNN on Abby Phillips's debate panel, absolutely destroyed Kevin O'Leary, looked at him in the face, and started debating him on terrorists. Kevin O'Leary had no answer. So you do have to respect the fact that we took a break because Adam traveled to New York to still do the same type of work, kept fighting the good fight. So spam the blue hearts in the chat. But I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I'm glad to be here.
We're going to cook a little bit today, mainly regarding Epstein and some other topics. So right here, we have an exclusive new article coming from CNN's K-Files. Newly discovered photos and video shed light on Trump's ties to Jeffrey Epstein. I want to go through some of these new photos and videos. Some of them are from Trump's wedding. How's everybody in chat doing today?
How are we feeling, everybody? There we go. Mine just popped.
Sweet. We've got a few things to go through. Let's just start with this new CNN K-Files investigation. Exclusive. Newly discovered photos and video shed fresh light on Trump's ties to Jeffrey Epstein. You know what's been disgusting over the past week, in my opinion? Incredibly disgusting is Donald Trump's brazen attempt to pivot off of the Epstein files and place any sort of blame on Obama. It's actually enraging me. Have you been following it?
Yeah, I made a video yesterday night on my channel walking through some of what I think the playbook is for them trying to skirt past this issue. Number one, sending people home early, lawmakers home, so they don't have to vote on the Epstein issue. But number two is this throw literally everything at the wall. They're accusing Obama of treason. That's a capital offense. Treason. They're accusing Hillary Clinton of all these things. They're just throwing everything they can at the wall. They're bringing AutoPen in. Trump's coming back to the fact that the 2020 election was stolen. They're doing everything they can to tell everybody, hey, we're not going to vote on the Epstein files, so let's get away from the American public and let's just go full in on this garbage that Obama committed treason. We saw the Obama office in a very rare respond to the outrageous allegations. Because again, if you read the Tulsi Gabbard thing, the files themselves, it clearly shows that Obama is innocent. Like nothing new has been discovered.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to say. There is no innocent or guilty. Nothing happened. Nothing new has been discovered. Again, if you're in here, by the way, spam the blue hearts for me. Great to see everybody. I'm going to say this one more time because I think we cut out in the beginning. So maybe we're going to start changing this up a bit. But glad to be back in the studio trying to build up the consistency. You have to give props where props are due. I know you guys didn't hear this, but I'm saying it again. Adam, part of the reason we were gone on Monday with all the travel, Adam went on CNN. I know you saw it. He absolutely destroyed Kevin O'Leary to his face. The dude was calm, cool, and collected on Abby Phillips's panel. I was watching the whole thing. My father texted me and was like, tell Adam, congrats. This guy killed it. Yeah. So show some love to Adam. We're trying to build up the consistency. Sometimes the travel can be hard. So we appreciate you rocking with us.
You're the best, brother. Thank you.
Of course. Back to this, though.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that kind of proved what we're building. It totally proved what we're building. I want to talk about the Epstein thing in 1 second because this Obama-Trump thing has been pissing me off all week, basically the Trump part of it. What he's saying about President Obama is pissing me off. He's lying to the American people. He's using the Oval Office to lie. But when we went on CNN, it was cool because it was the first time Midas touch in the world of CNN have collided, and ended up being in a cool debate panel where I think we came out on top and did well. And it feels like my video after got 1 million views in less than 24 hours, which proves that we can take a show in primetime television and almost double the viewership of it, and then send it back to them and be like, hey, look at what we did. It's a really cool flow, and I think what we're building is just only a tiny part of what's going to be built in the future. And what I mean by that is this is a big part, but we are about to be part of a large digital media ecosystem that we are creating. And I think that it's only going to get bigger and bigger. We're on the very beginning of this large thing.
100%. And you've been putting in so much work to the studio and trying to set this all up. We appreciate everybody sticking with us here. I'm excited, man. You've been killing it. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, show some love. It goes a long way. Truly.
And let's start here.
Yeah.
So Trump posts fake video showing Obama arrest.
Yeah.
Now, we cannot talk about this story without pointing out the underlying fact that this is a pure distraction. It is a distraction from the fact that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein are best friends going back decades, that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein would go and party together and they love each other and they would cuddle. But what's going on here is Donald Trump is trying to redirect any blame to what people deem a political enemy, which is President Obama. But he's doing it by spreading election fraud lies. So let me just lay the groundwork on what actually happened. In 2016, there was an intelligence report saying Russia was trying to interfere in our elections using social media, using all of these illegal means such as influencing like how people think, spreading division, spreading lies on social media, all of this, right? There was a whole report. In 2020, this report was also confirmed by Marco Rubio.
Yep.
And it was very simple. Russia is trying to interfere in our elections, but they are not technologically advanced enough to actually hack the machines.
Yep.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard is coming out 8 years later and saying, look, Russia never actually hacked our machines, therefore the Obama administration was lying and they were trying to steal the election by talking about Russia collusion. Well, the Obama administration never made the claim. They never once made the claim that Russia was hacking into the election machines. Right. I read the report. The report just literally says Russia has been making intentional efforts to hurt our election infrastructure, to weaken the, coherence of our society and put Trump into office, but they are not technologically advanced enough to hack the election systems. And Republicans are hoping that nobody even reads that. So, I mean, that's something that I think we need to be relentlessly hammering home. Obama did nothing. Trump is weaponizing the executive branch to target a former president. It is not okay. It actually enrages me.
It's disgusting. And again, that was all beautifully said because nothing about Tulsi Gabbard's report Tulsi Gabbard's report is the same as not only the Intelligence Committee, but also what the Obama administration and Obama intelligence agencies found, which was that you're right. Russia never directly tried to manipulate votes. But Tulsi Gabbard didn't say anything about the fact that Russia absolutely tried to interfere in our election in other ways. And again, conflating two things, hoping people don't notice. It is truly, like when you say it enrages you, it is truly such a stain on what the office of the president means for them to be going after somebody like Barack Obama. And again, it goes back to your point. As he's trying to distract from the fact that now CNN has these new photos, which I know you want to talk about Trump and Epstein's relationship. They are throwing, I made a video last night, they're throwing everything they can at the wall. I have never seen Trump and like the Republican media machine this like turned up.
Scared.
Like, and I talked about it last night. It's like I have never seen Trump, we see Trump levy all sorts of accusations. But just in the Oval Office yesterday, I mean, he went Obama treason, Hillary treason, auto pen, 2020 election rigged, all of it treason. The DOJ's investigating. Then you have the Republican media machine crank it all the way up, and you have arrest Obama trending on Twitter. And it's such a disgrace, And so I hear you're being enraged about it. Do you think that being on it can't be a coincidence that it's on the heels of the CNN reporting of these new photos?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's definitely just desperate to distract in any manner possible. We just learned right now, breaking news, House Oversight Chairman James Comer has issued a subpoena to Ghislaine Maxwell for a deposition that he says will occur on August 11th. But the only thing I'm worried about with these subpoenas are like the perverse incentives in place. Ghislaine has every incentive to help Trump to throw anybody under the bus that is a political enemy. Like, why would she, as she's fishing for a pardon, incriminate Trump if he's in the files?
Right, and she wouldn't. And that's why, wow, that is actually stunning breaking news. And again, what they're going to try to do, I think, and this is part of what I made the video of, can you go to the tab I pulled up, if you let me rant for a second, if people are okay with it. The tab on Project 2025, it's a Wikipedia tab. I know it's oddly strange for me to pull that up, but does everybody remember in the chat when we screamed about Project 2025? The idea behind Project 2025 is unitary executive theory, that the Constitution actually intends for the President of the United States to have full and complete control of the executive branch. Normally, three-letter agencies like the DOJ, the FBI, the CDC, the SEC, all these three-letter agencies you hear, the FDA, they're largely independent from the president, shielded from political pressure so they can do their job effectively. Project 2025 argues that actually that's not how the Constitution intended. We should fire a bunch of federal workers. The president can choose who works in those agencies, and they become political arms of the executive branch, essentially largely expanding executive authority. That's exactly what we've seen, right? Donald Trump, for the first time ever, fires a bunch of federal workers and takes these agencies and fills them with loyalists. So I think that people aren't realizing when you're talking, now we just got the breaking news on stream about James Comer talking about having submitting a subpoena to Ghislaine Maxwell, and we have the DOJ talking to Ghislaine Maxwell very quietly. Now that something like the DOJ is a political tool of the president, and no longer this independent agency, because never in American history has a president been saying the DOJ is going to do this. The DOJ is going to do this. I want the DOJ to prosecute these people. That doesn't happen. And now it does, because frankly, it's a political arm of the president, and it's part of now this, expanding executive branch. And I say all of that to say that you're right, is what's going to happen. And as we see the DOJ talking to Ghislaine Maxwell, now James Comer doing this, is they're going to say, my fear is that they're going to say, look, this is what President Trump wants. You're facing 20 plus years in prison. You're never going to get out of here.
Yep.
We'll give you a pardon. We'll let you go live your life freely, which is what obviously anybody in that situation would desperately want. As long as you give us all these names, say that you and Jeffrey Epstein never knew Donald Trump, and we'll let you on your way. And I think that's the third part of the Republican machine trying to get away from this, is they're preparing to have Ghislaine Maxwell say, I never knew Trump.
Yeah.
Now, I guess, in front of the American people. So she's going to speak in front of the House? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, she's going to do, I think, a behind closed door subpoena. I'm not sure if it's going to be public.
That's terrible, because they're just going to say this is what she told. They're going to lie about it.
They're doing it at the federal correctional facility, but I'm sure they're going to selectively release certain lines from it. They're probably going to guide her into saying certain things.
Truly, this is like this is how much our government has changed. It's so scary.
People always ask, why didn't Biden release the Epstein files? But it's because Biden wasn't openly weaponizing his Department of Justice. Releasing the Epstein files necessitates the president basically putting his thumb on the scale of the DOJ. And Trump is openly doing that with Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi has openly talked about releasing the files for Trump. So we know that they're working together. Biden never did that. Merrick Garland was very careful to not be somebody who was political at the DOJ, a little bit too careful.
This is truly one of my biggest passions right now, is that people do not understand how government worked before Donald Trump, or they have this impression that just is wrong. Why didn't Biden release the Epstein files? Biden didn't get involved in the DOJ like every other president. The DOJ indicted Joe Biden's son. And when they asked him about it on camera, you know what Joe Biden said? He said, that has nothing to do with me. I'm going to trust my DOJ. I appointed Merrick Garland. The DOJ should do whatever they feel best. The reason that's how our executive branch has been set up is so the DOJ can do its job effectively. So the executive branch isn't too large and it's shielded from political pressure. Would this DOJ ever investigate Donald Trump's son if they found out there was some wrongdoing? Of course not, right? But Biden's DOJ is shielded from that political pressure. They know Joe Biden respects the office of the presidency. So if they believe Hunter Biden's possibly doing something wrong and they're going to investigate it, fine. Joe Biden says that has nothing to do with me. He was found guilty, then Joe Biden issues a pardon. That's a separate issue. But again, to your point, why did Biden not release the Epstein files? Because that has nothing to do with him. He's not going to the DOJ and asking about the Epstein files. If the DOJ feels like it's in the best interest of the American people to release the Epstein files under Joe Biden, they'll do it. But Joe Biden has nothing to do with that. I know I'm getting very passionate right now.
True.
But this is one of my biggest passions. Is this idea of this expanding executive authority. And now all of these agencies that people fundamentally don't realize that they're so broken now. The DOJ, the FBI, the CDC, the SEC, these organizations don't work for us anymore. They are political arms of the president. We just saw Stephen Colbert get fired. Right? Why? Because they're trying to approve a merger and the FCC needs to approve that. Now all these executive branches, they're filled with, all these three-letter agencies, they're filled with loyalists. And so before the FCC approves a merger, you better go to the White House and go to Donald Trump and make sure that's politically convenient. Stephen Colbert, the highest-rated late-night show television host, anti-Trump, let's get him out of there so we can approve this merger. I made a video. I'm gonna let you go. Yeah. I made a video 6 months ago, 6 months before the election, and I said, what happens when you want to IPO your company and the Security and Exchange Commission, the SEC, says, well, you've checked off all the boxes. We can approve this IPO. Your company's going public. Congrats, but let's go through the White House and make sure that's politically advantageous. That's terrifying. You and I could not IPO a company right now. Think about this. If you and I built something incredible and wanted to IPO a company, I fundamentally believe we would get rejected because the SEC would go check. Oh, they're very anti-Trump. Trump, how do you feel? No, denied. Boom, done. That's insane. That should terrify everybody. I'm done ranting.
But then if we turned into a right-wing station, not only would we be fine, but he would be like, you're also exempt from tariffs. You're also, because tariffs are a perfect avenue for corruption as well. It's all just uniquely corrupt. Let's talk about this article. This is something I genuinely find very fascinating. Steve Bannon is a clever individual, not because we agree with him or not because he's someone who's a force for good, but if you ever watch an interview with Steve Bannon, he's a political strategist who helped Trump create this sort of brand of flooding the zone. So I'm not saying that out of out of me agreeing with him. I just think Steve Bannon is a clever strategist.
Right.
Now, there is 15 hours of footage that Steve Bannon shot with Jeffrey Epstein that has never been released.
Really?
Which is insane. Yeah, nobody really talks about this, but this all exists. This could all incriminate Trump. There's a reason why he's not releasing this. Really quickly, how is everybody in chat doing? We have it actually, so I see Cheryl in chat. I see Dan. Joelish says, what did y'all think about the Mehdi Hassan Jubilee? On one hand, it's depressing, but I think it's good that they are being so wildly mask off about being fascists and Nazis. No more hiding. You know, I'm kind of conflicted about the Mehdi Hassan one.
I'm conflicted.
Here's the thing. I'm somebody who on the stream has advocated for having these conversations, for debating with people, for pushing back. But I was always talking about like pushing back on Joe Rogan or pushing back on Fox News hosts. I'm not sure you should intentionally bring in Nazis and give them a platform. But if you're going to, make sure they're looking stupid, and Jubilee did do that. So Jubilee made sure they made 20 Nazis look as dumb as effing possible, and all the clips made them look as dumb as effing possible, which may be a net positive, but at some point it may not be as good to just platform these views with no pushback.
Right.
It's very odd.
The question becomes like, if these views, and the people in the chat, good to see everybody. Appreciate the question. The question becomes, are we engaged? Like, a lot of these issues have already been settled. I talked about this a little bit with the vaccine jubilee. 20 anti-vaxxers. Like, there is no debate about vaccine anti-vax. This is a settled issue.
Yep.
There is a million pages of research that go up to the ceiling that vaccines are safe and effective. So when we're opening the doors, the question becomes, okay, are we now engaging in a debate that's already been settled? Are we actually allowing a conversation that's already been, there's no debate, allowing it to be debated and actually opening up for more questions that hurt people? I don't know the answer to that, because that's what some people say about the Nazi conversation in Jubilee. It's like, oh, this is depressing, this is sad. We shouldn't be platforming such disgusting, gross views that have no place in our society. But then the question becomes, if these are growing views right now in this America that's moving toward the right, is it key for us to be actually taking them head on? I don't know.
Some people say sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Ooh,
in the sense that
I've never heard that.
If there's like an ideology that's growing, if you put some sunlight on it and you show how dumb it is, it's actually better than letting it simmer somewhere in the background, because then like it begins to blow up in a separate, in a larger way.
Right.
But I think the Jubilee thing is an interesting. I really like the people that work there. I like the brand. When I first saw the Mehdi Hassan versus far, I've been on there a few times. When I first saw like the far right thing, I was like, interesting. When I saw how Mehdi Hassan played it, I'm okay with it, and I think Mehdi Hassan was okay with it too. Mehdi Hassan was like, listen, we went on there and I kind of rolled through every single one of them. So, but let's go back to this. Steve Bannon's secret Epstein videos. Someone said, imagine creating a hoax and running on it, only then to say it's not a hoax once you win, and the fan base is still trying to figure out why. Yep, exactly. That's right. Mehdi said he was expecting actual far-right conservatives, not racists and supremacists. Yeah, I saw that in Mehdi's interview. But I think after the fact, he was like, listen, these people were racist, but I kind of rolled through them, whatever. But let's continue. Steve Bannon's secret Epstein videos. I find this incredibly interesting. What are on these secret tapes?
So you're actually I've not heard. I didn't even know this existed. Tell me about this.
He says it's a documentary, but the 15 hours of footage that Steve Bannon shot with Jeffrey Epstein was reportedly training for a 60-minute style redemption tour that never happened.
What?
So he was going to go on a redemption tour, and Steve Bannon was going to help turn him into like maybe a right-wing figure with redemption. But Epstein was then rearrested and killed himself, I believe. Just like everybody else these days, Steve Bannon has been pounding the table for the release of the Epstein files, blasting the disgraced financier as a globalist child molester, and calling for public transparency. Turns out, though, Bannon wasn't always so critical of the late billionaire. As recently as 2019, as mounting press coverage and renewed investigations were closing in before his arrest at Teterboro Airport on sex trafficking charges, as most everyone else in Jeffrey Epstein's orbit had already shunned the 66-year-old, Bannon was still standing by his man. Steve Bannon was still standing by Jeffrey Epstein. The rumpled former Trump aide reportedly advised Epstein from the shadows, joined strategy calls, and ultimately helped stage a behind-the-scenes media makeover, arranging a series of videotaped sessions at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse in which Bannon served as his interlocutor. This is really interesting.
That's
so there's
fascinating.
15 hours of Jeffrey Epstein talking to Steve Bannon about, the entire world of Trump or politics or everything, and we don't know what it says in there.
What type of, okay, I didn't even know this, but like, again, you're talking about prepping him for 60 minutes, 15 hours? It's a lot of footage. What the hell?
Yeah. They were trying to completely do a media makeover and make him seem not as molesty. Really quickly.
Nice.
What's up, Gunk and chat?
This is great. Sorry. Also, to my chat, welcome in, everybody. Great to see everybody. I have not forgot about you. I'm reading this here, too.
Yeah, say what's up.
I appreciate you. Jared, thanks for being here. Brian, I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you so much. JLW, good to see you. Good to see you guys.
I see Alexis, Gunk, John, Sunu. I saw Lisa, Lord Seshomoru. Sorry, I said that wrong. Days of the Week, Nova Dragon. You guys are all the best. Wall Street Journal, you says, reporting some breaking news. Is it breaking? Let's look up the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, I think I accidentally just...
Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. Whoa.
Wait, what?
Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. Bondi also told President at the meeting that Justice decided to not release any more Jeffrey Epstein documents because of the presence of child pornography and the need to protect victims.
This is from the Wall Street Journal just now.
Yeah.
What is going... Wow. Bondi also told President at the meeting that Justice... What is going on? This is crazy. Let me sign in to the Wall Street Journal here, folks.
Hayden, can you click on that OBS, stop recording, and then when you click start, I'm going to make a video of this.
This is crazy.
Recording. Yep. Okay, when you go.
When Justice Department... Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. All right, we have some major breaking news. Justice Department officials told Trump back in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. We've been wondering why the timeline worked so perfectly to cover up everything that Trump... One second, let me restart.
Sorry, guys, you're watching in real time. Adam, make a YouTube video for you.
We're trying to make a full video out of this. All right, let me redo it one more time. All right, breaking news. We just learned that the Justice Department told Trump back in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. And this happened after the most brazen, blatant cover-up we have ever seen. I'm here with Chris Mowry just to run down the timeline. Pam Bondi gets into office and says, I have the Epstein files sitting on my desk right here. She then sends out a bunch of influencers with binders saying Epstein files, part 1, phase 1. Then when Elon Musk says... Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. When Elon Musk tweets that out, apparently they're gone. Over the past 2 weeks, this has made the entire case blow up in Trump's face. We have new letters that Trump wrote to Epstein. We have new photos and videos that were discovered. Like just this morning, I made a story about Jeffrey Epstein going to Donald Trump's 1993 wedding. And Chris, what's the totality of context here? Like Trump also bought a beauty pageant. Tell me why... you need to look at the context altogether when looking at Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's relationship.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw yesterday on CNN. CNN released exclusive photos of Trump attending, I believe, Jeffrey Epstein's second wedding. We've seen Donald Trump consistently all the time hang out with Jeffrey Epstein, obviously sending a birthday card. I think you may be more familiar with him and the beauty pageants and the purchase of beauty pageants. I'm actually reading right now the Wall Street Journal story that also not only did the DOJ tell Donald Trump that he was in the Epstein files, but FBI Director Kash Patel has privately told other government officials that Trump's name appeared in the files, according to people close to the administration. So, yeah, I mean, there is no question, I think, in anybody's mind who's living in reality based on their relationship as a whole going back decades. And now with these new CNN photos that they're showing up, he's being invited to his wedding, that they were very, very close. They were good friends. Donald Trump has said that many times.
And Trump has talked about walking in the dressing room of beauty pageants he owns. He's talked about grabbing women because they let you do it. So if you look at the totality of how Trump talks, who he keeps around him, the letters that he sends to his sexual predator friends, it becomes increasingly obvious.
He told, there's a clip, maybe we can pull it up eventually. There's also a clip of Donald Trump telling a 10-year-old girl that he would be, that quote, I'll be dating you in 10 years. So he's on an escalator talking to a family. There's many instances of Donald Trump being not only close to Epstein, but saying some very questionable is a gracious word to use.
And Epstein showed up to his wedding. When I showed this on screen, someone was like, is Epstein wearing white jeans to a wedding? Implying that like that's the worst thing Epstein has done. Right. It's like, I think the white jeans are like not the worst thing Epstein has ever done.
Right.
But to continue, this reads, when Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a truckload of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein earlier this year, they discovered that Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times, according to senior administration officials. In May, Bondi and her deputy informed the president at a meeting in the White House that his name was in the Epstein files, the officials said. Many other high-profile figures were named, Trump was told. Being mentioned in the records isn't a sign of wrongdoing, but they had to sit him down and say, listen, you are in the files, and we can almost guarantee that is why they've been acting so incredibly weird. The officials said it was a routine briefing that covered a number of topics and that Trump's appearance in the documents wasn't the focus, but they brought it up. They told him, and since then, there has been an intentional cover-up. Do not let this administration talk about transparency or gaslight about caring about America's children when they are covering up the abuse of children en masse. To continue, they told the president at the meeting that the files contained what officials felt was unverified hearsay about many people, including Trump, who had socialized with Epstein in the past. Some of the officials said, wait a minute, so they're admitting right here there are allegations against Trump in the files. Let me reread this one more time. They told the president at the meeting that the files contained what officials felt was unverified hearsay about many people, including Trump. So people in the files are being, there are allegations against people. There's hearsay against people. There are bad allegations about people, including Trump. That's how I'm reading it, right?
Yeah, no, you're correct. And sorry, I was just tweeting just now as this news breaks and we're trying to make videos and content about this. Not only is there an intentional cover up, but also that, and I don't know, sorry, I might have zoned out for a minute there, but also that they've been talking to, I was reading about Kash Patel and Dan Bongino also, talking to multiple people within the administration saying Donald Trump's name appears in these files and being upset that that Pam Bondi won't release more of them for some reason and then it starts to dive into their own personal brand, that they're eroding the trust within their brand and the right-wing circles. It's all about, remember, money. But I think just now you were talking about, a hearsay or how, in what context his name appears in the files.
Essentially, there are allegations, it seems like, against him and many other people, but they're saying the allegations are still hearsay. They also told Trump that senior Justice Department officials didn't plan to release any more documents related to the investigation of the convicted sex offender because the material contained child pornography and victims' personal information, the official said. Trump said at the meeting he would defer to the Justice Department's decision not to release any files. So this is what we've been saying this entire time.
That is nuts that this broke live on stream.
We've been saying this entire time. They must have found Trump's name in the files. We've been saying they must have seen Trump's name when going through them, and that is when they rapidly changed from, hey, the files are on our desk, we're about to go through them, to we didn't have files. What happened in that time? They went through the files and they realized that Trump's name is all over them. There are allegations about Trump that are all over them. The meeting set the stage for the high-profile review to come to an end. Bondi said in February that the Epstein client list was sitting on my desk right now to review.
And this is also, again, goes to show when we look back at all the reporting that you've done in some of the videos that I've made, is that why Donald Trump has acted like this. We said on the last live stream we did that, if you look at how Donald Trump responds to any accusation against him, he acts fundamentally different than he is right now, and how he has been, especially in the beginning of this, where Donald Trump will walk away at points, was walking away from reporters, now saying, "Oh, focus on Obama," Obama treason, throwing everything at the wall that he can to distract. And at so many points, instead of taking it head on and saying, "Oh, those people are crazy, those people are insane," just attacking over and over, there's been so many points of Donald Trump just deflecting and being like, "I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that." And you and I have talked about the fact that he's scared. It seems like he's scared. This is not how Donald Trump normally acts.
Very
and
scared.
Now we understand why he's scared. Because breaking Wall Street journals, he's in the files.
He's like a rat trapped in a corner, basically. Yeah. The Trump admin didn't publicly announce the decision until weeks later. The decision not to release it, when the Justice Department posted a memo on its website. The statement, which was unsigned, stated a thorough review had turned up no list of Epstein's clients, no evidence that would lead to an investigation of uncharged third parties, and no additional documents that merited public disclosure. But after public pressure, apparently there are documents in the form of grand jury testimony, which is what nobody asked for in the first place.
Wait. They're not. It wasn't written by Democrats?
Yeah, apparently the grand jury testimony wasn't an Obama hoax.
Dude.
So
if I was a Trump supporter right now, I'd actually be so confused.
It was. So at first, the client list was on her desk, But then it doesn't exist. But then it does exist, and it's an Obama thing. But then, you know what? We are going to release the grand jury testimony, which had nothing to do with Obama. What in the hell?
If I still was a MAGA supporter, at the bare minimum, I'd be so confused about what is a file? I mean, what are we doing here? We went from no files, there are files, there are no files, there's some files. Actually, all the files were written by Obama. Who even cares about these files?
So disgusting.
It's like, what is going on?
It's so disgusting that Trump is now trying to pivot over to Obama at every single step. When Obama didn't do anything. Leave Obama out of this. He's not doing anything, but Trump is trying to make it seem like Obama stole the 2016 election. He's making up all these lies. I tweeted something out like, you would have to be in the bottom 1 percentile of IQ in this country if you believe that Obama stole the election. And if you're falling for this blatant distraction, there's no evidence of Obama doing anything whatsoever. So Trump tries to divert attention.
It's interesting that he does the thing that, like, the reason that he got into this mess and the reason the Epstein files are different, obviously we've said many times, is because, Donald Trump is supposed to be this outsider, this person who's going to expose the deep state. I will tell you what other politicians won't. And he gets in, and now the Epstein files aren't released, and that's why it's been so hard for it, as opposed to literally any other issue, because he lies so often. His base doesn't care. His core base really cares about this, and that's why we've seen some of the divide. But it's interesting, you just said it, and I realized it, that his distraction method is going back to this idea that they just found out more about the deep state and they're going to expose it. He's almost re-engaging the base on, like, the issue they care about the most, which is he's an outsider, and he's going to expose all the people that have tried to ruin your life and my life. So he's almost like using the same, like, reason his base is enraged to distract them.
Well, he's using divisiveness. He's using as much divisiveness as possible. So once the general public was aligned on an issue, once people were like, hey, we have bipartisan agreement that the Epstein files should be released, he decides to pivot and laser focus on the most divisive issues possible, which would be Obama rigged the election, crooked Hillary Clinton. Now he's trying to pivot back over to immigration and try to divide people on immigration, rather than talking about the main core issue. There was a clip of him directly saying, like, why are you talking about this stuff regarding, really meaning Epstein, when we could be talking about crooked Obama? And it's like, dude, you're just desperate. See, regarding this story, Stephen Chung, the White House communications director, said, this is another fake story. Just like the previous story by the Wall Street Journal, they're just deflecting.
If you had to be in your day-to-day life, do you think it'd be easy if you could argue like a Trump supporter about literally anything? Like, if your mom or your brother or your best friend was like, Adam, you did this. Here's a video of you, like, saying that I'm you hate me, or telling your best friends, like, Adam, you talk shit about me. Here's a video of you saying I hate my best friend. You just be like, that's fake.
I didn't do that.
Never happened. That video, it's not me.
Yeah.
And you could just do that for everything in life.
It's just like, my producer's like, Adam, the dishes haven't been done in 2 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, they have. They're literally done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure Obama came in here and used all of our dishes after I cleaned them.
That's
I'm
right.
pretty sure Obama made lasagna and basically just didn't wash the dishes
That's
after.
right. You could just...
Effing Obama, dude. That's essentially what they're doing.
Yeah, speaking of Obama, Adam, look at this.
I love that photo.
Look at this portrait of Adam and Obama here. I think you can see that.
We were talking about...
What a great guy.
We were talking about how Trump... No, we didn't say... I don't know.
Yeah. Obama's a great guy. How was meeting him?
Great president. He's got a great presence. He's got an amazing presence. And when he walks in the room, you can just see the leadership capabilities sort of oozing from him, because he would, delegate... Not delegate, but he would facilitate the conversation in a very impressive way, just as a side note. But I think that Trump is desperate to deflect blame in any way possible, and it's pretty disgusting. To continue reading this, in a statement to the Journal on Friday, Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said nothing in the files warranted further investigation or prosecution. Quote, as a part of our routine briefing, we made the president aware of the findings. Well, the reason there's no further investigation needed is because Trump's name is in the files. They told him in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. Do you think Trump was even surprised? I'm sure he was like, oh, I'm surprised it wasn't called like the Epstein Trump files. He's just happy that his name is...
I'm always curious what goes through like Trump's head on these issues, but also, in that same context, we talked a lot about like the just general cognitive decline of Donald Trump over the last 6 months alone. And so sometimes I wonder like how coherent he even is on these issues, how much he believes from himself. I think he believes his own lies. At this point, he's probably like, oh, I never even met Jeffrey Epstein. That photo of me, not real, not real. The files, not real. I don't know. I don't know how much he believes. It's fascinating. I've always wanted to get into like Trump's head on that. I guess my question with all of that becomes like, do you think moving into the midterms how do you think that this plays out for the Trump administration? Do you think that this issue will eventually, I think the hope for you and I and for all Democrats is that this issue doesn't go away and we keep hammering it home. Do you think they'll be able to wiggle their way out of this one?
I don't think they're going to recover from the erosion of trust. But here's the thing. Will the Jeffrey Epstein issue change the results of the midterms? I'm not sure. I think people are focused on other issues if you look at polling, but that doesn't mean it's not important. People can care about a few things at one time, including Jeffrey Epstein and the price of groceries. And what Jeffrey Epstein is doing is illuminating a light on the corruption, the lack of transparency, and the overall weirdness of this administration. And that goes downstream. So once people are laser focusing on
I'm gonna let you keep speaking.
the weirdness of this administration. Once people are realizing this admin is not only weird, but corrupt, they'll be able to look at the economy and see the same thing there. They'll say, why am I struggling while the Trump admin is covering up the Epstein files? Why is Trump getting a $400 million jet and getting rich off of crypto while we're struggling? So will the Epstein files in themselves change the result of the election? No. But I do think they will open people's eyes to how this administration functions. Because now I have MAGA friends saying, listen, I didn't really view Trump as that unhinged until the whole Epstein thing. Now I'm beginning to realize, like, holy shit, this dude is really unhinged. And it's like, yes, now that your eyes are open, just use that. Use that framework for every other issue.
Right, no, 100%. And the thing is, like you talked about this last time, and I thought it was brilliant, is, you know, when you're trying to get people to, if this isn't their highest polling issue, obviously, you know, inflation, the economy, all these things, that you can use this as the in to say, look at what else they're lying about. You know, Donald Trump says inflation is gone. Inflation is rising. Consumer confidence is low. People are struggling, all of these things. But in the same vein, sorry, I had to step away there for a second. I apologize. In the same vein, moving toward the midterms, I also think that because this issue is eroding his core base does a lot of work on social media around, you know, garnering, kind of like spreading that message outward of Trump. It's kind of like Telephone, some like insane super core person who really cares about the Epstein files is spam tweeting, getting hundreds of thousands of views. One of his tweets about like inflation being solved does well, and it goes to somebody else who sent it to a friend, and their core issue might not be Epstein, but this very core, you know, person to the Trump cult base just kind of convinced somebody else, that like wide reaching. But I think part of my hope for this in the same context is that the people who are spamming about Trump and that core base who have now turned on him and said, like, you know what, I'm done with Trump. I've talked so much about Philip Anderson, the guy who is a literal right-wing social media influencer, essentially, tweets all day, 3-time Trump voter, and was convicted of a felony on January 6th, was at the Stop the Steal rally. He's turned on Trump. He tweets all day now about how Trump is a fraud and he's full of shit and his base is like a cult. Now, why did it take the Epstein files for him to realize that his base is a cult? I don't fucking know, because a lot of, excuse my language, a lot of what we've talked about previously with how important the Epstein files is. But my hope is that like Philip Anderson tweeting about how the administration is a fraud will, you know, expand outwards and hurt their general like getting out the vote campaign in 2026.
Yeah. What you said, I forgot about that point last week, where it's the cover-up framework. So he's covering this up. What else is he covering up?
Right.
A health issue? They were kind of covering up a health issue.
No one's talking about that anymore?
What else is he covering up? The Iran strikes weren't as successful as they thought. So it's interesting how as we get new photos, as we get new videos, it only cements the fact that Donald Trump was covering this up. We have a new article, again, that the Justice Department told Trump in May that his name was among the files. And as we learn that, on the same day, there are new videos of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein at a Victoria's Secret party in 1999. Did you hear about the 1993 party where they invited a bunch of young girls? I think the girls, I haven't seen reporting that they were underage, but I've heard they were like 18 to 24. Donald Trump invited 20 to 30 young girls, and there was one other guy there. Jeffrey Epstein. Just one other guy.
I read a little bit about that. So that was 93.
93, they had a secret party, which is disgusting.
That's
Their
so gross.
mysterious relationship, if you want to use their word.
And he was the only one on the guest list.
Only guy on the guest list, Jeffrey Epstein.
So that's
and Donald
93,
Trump.
and then you said 98 is the Victoria's Secret party?
99 is this Victoria's Secret model. In addition, footage from 1999 Victoria's Secret fashion event in New York shows Trump and Epstein laughing and chatting together ahead of the runway event. CNN's K-File uncovered the raw footage during a review of archival video of Trump at events. You see him and Epstein, again, kind of laughing and pointing at women. Why is that always what they do?
Right.
I don't have, like, this is just, I don't have any idea how you could look at this and not
be incredibly, like, not... Again, Donald Trump's only defense is like, that's not me. That's essentially like they caught him in 4K.
Or when you're a star, they let you do it.
Yeah, right. Really, based on his past comments. Also, Ed, thank you so much for the $10 super chat in my chat. Chris and Adam, you are my favorite fake news sources. Thanks for the truth. I love you, Ed. Thank you so much. And it's so good to see everyone in Adam's chat over here. You guys have been showing so much love. Spam the hearts. Share the live if you haven't.
Ed, I think Ed just sent the same.
Oh, Ed, thank you so much. Maybe send the live to your MAGA grandma. Be like, hey, look at these two young guys spreading the truth. You never know.
Send the live to your MAGA grandparents.
Right.
Director said Rupert Murdoch and the rest of the billionaire class got their tax cuts passed. They no longer need Trump or MAGA, so they're about to be destroyed since he was never one of them to begin with. Thank you for the donation, Director. And yeah, I don't think Trump and Rupert Murdoch are on good terms. And here's the thing. I'm not often on Rupert Murdoch's side, but it seems like Rupert Murdoch is going to be standing his ground and pushing back in the Wall Street Journal lawsuit, and I think he should.
Yeah.
Stand your ground, push back. We obviously disagree with Rupert Murdoch on almost everything, but the thing is, he is known to be very feisty in lawsuits that relate to his businesses. So I want to see him be feisty against Trump.
No, I agree 100%, and that's exactly what he should do. You eventually get eaten by the MAGA cult. Might take a while, but the MAGA cult and Donald Trump will come after you, and that's what Murdoch is learning right now. But he absolutely should stand his ground, as should everybody every private business who's being attacked by the government, the party of small government, using government to attack, anyone who says anything negative about them. Also, Ria Raya, great to see you in the chat. You guys are also amazing. Janice,
what's up, Andrew Robinson?
How are you guys doing today? Hi, Canada. We're sorry about the mess down there. We still love you.
You know what's funny?
I appreciate it.
In a statement to CNN, White House Communications Director Stephen Chung said, quote, "These are nothing more than out-of-context frame grabs of innocuous videos and pictures of widely attended events." Here's the thing. We have out-of-context screen grabs, as he calls them, hundreds of them of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein partying. All they have of Obama are AI videos that Trump made. So they're making up AI videos of Obama being arrested because they have nothing on him. They have to turn to AI because they have absolutely effing nothing. Right. Meanwhile, we have files dating back centuries, maybe not centuries, maybe just decades, but we have files dating back decades of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein being friends.
Wait. Can you read that again from Stephen Chung? What does that even mean? Out of context screen grabs?
These are nothing more than out of context frame grabs.
What does that mean?
So let's add the context then. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were best buds during the peak of Jeffrey Epstein's being a sexual predator. Donald Trump would send sexual innuendos to Jeffrey Epstein while bragging behind the scenes about him being able to just do it, because if you're a star, they let you do it.
Right.
He had a beauty pageant that he bought, not just one, he had 3 beauty pageants where he bragged about walking in on girls in the dressing room. And throughout all of this, he was known behind the scenes as being a weirdo with repeated sexual assault allegations. So when his communications director, when Trump's comms guy says, "Why don't you add the context to these photos?" You might not want to add the effing context to these photos.
And again, even if it's like, the argument is they're out of context, they're just hanging out together. It's like, there's no context. I mean, it's like, let's look at their relationship. Here they are together. There's no out of context. It's not like they were, randomly seen together on the side of the road. Like, they happen to run into each other. That's out of context. They're together at a private event. Like, these are invite-only events, obviously. It's not like Adam Mockler is going to be accidentally photoed, or I'm going to be accidentally photoed with, like, high-up government officials, or Jeffrey Epstein. Like, these are invite-only events. There's no context. And, like, Donald Trump got invited, / Jeffrey Epstein got invited to hang out together at a private event. What? I mean, it's just so enraging how they just lie about everything. These people have no shame, dude.
They say it never happened. If it did, it's fine if it happened. Like, they'll ask me, you don't ever send weird, dirty jokes to your friends? And I'm like, There's a difference between saying sending a funny meme to Chris or whatever compared to Donald Trump signing his name as pubic hair and then sending it off to somebody who is in the peak of their sexual predator career. If you read the New York indictment, Jeffrey Epstein, the peak of his sex trafficking was 2002 to 2005. Donald Trump sent this letter in 2003. In the peak of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking, Donald Trump was saying, "We have a wonderful secret behind the scenes. We have a wonderful secret.
What could that possibly be?
We're more alike than we know," which is absolutely insane. So that's the added context right there.
Right.
When Trump supporters try to say, "Hey, it's not that big of a deal," look at all the context.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Let's see here. Sorry about that. Welcome again, everybody. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
For all the
How
love.
is everybody doing? We talked a little bit about everything in the news, but how's everybody doing?
Yeah, there's most of the news these days is Epstein dominated. So trying to cover that. There's not too much I feel like else going on. Today we've seen some other news about some of the decisions that some of the ways, that the government is trying to stop trans people playing in sports specifically.
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about this for 1 second? Because I've got a debate on Newsmax in a bit. I don't know if anyone in chat has cable TV. If you do, then I'm sorry. Okay, if you have cable TV,
I'm sorry.
Turn on Newsmax in like 34 minutes because I agreed to some debate on there, and I have to
so
go do it.
To who? Oh my!
So the
I
topic.
agreed to some. Yeah, dude. Who has what? I don't even know what cable like. Do you know who even provides Newsmax?
No,
still?
I don't know. I love shitting on a network right before I'm going on there. But okay, let's start here.
Gosh.
And then they sent me the topic, and they're not talking about Epstein. They're not talking about Obama. They're talking about U.S. Olympic and Paralympic officials bar transgender women from Olympic sports. That's the topic that they chose. And I'm just like, oh, Lord have mercy.
I just don't understand.
Okay, so really quickly, let's do some show prep. What should my talking point here be? Should I just pivot to Epstein over and over? Or honestly, you know what I have to do? I have to tackle the core issue first optically so I can just take that down, and then I can softly or cleanly pivot over to Epstein. That's the best look.
Yeah,
right
and
there.
I think, and Chad can give Adam some recommendations here, but yeah, I think you just got to keep hammering Epstein. Why are we not talking about Epstein? Why are we not talking about Epstein? I also think that in these conversations, I start asking about, again, what is the current conservative? The conservative movement is dead. The conservative movement is supposed to believe in small government. And it's like, wait a second. Even on this issue alone, the question becomes why is the government getting involved in these issues? This is never what the Conservative Party has believed in terms of anything. The government should be involved in private organizations or just sporting organizations and who should play in those organizations. That's not even a conservative belief. But furthermore, again, you just got to hammer home the Epstein stuff.
Here seems to be the argument. So they already had guidelines that were rather rational. A lot of these organizations, for instance, USA Track and Field, have long followed guidelines set by their own World Federation, and these guidelines were already rather rational. The guidelines said if you were past a certain stage of transitioning, then you could perform, but if you were past this certain stage or your testosterone was this level, then you may not be able to perform. It was like a case-by-case basis that was very smart. That was very clever and inclusive when it made sense to be. Now they're trying to have this blanket strategy of saying nobody can participate. And this is just worse. It's government overreach when there were already good guidelines in place. It says some of these organizations already had their own guidelines. The USA Swimming spokesman said the Federation had been made aware of the US OPC's change and was consulting with the committee to figure out what changes need to be made. The nationwide battle over transgender girls on girls and women's sports teams have played out both at state and federal levels as Republicans portray the issue as a fight for athletic fairness. But there were already solid guidelines in place. So I think I'm just going to make that point, then pivot over to Epstein or say, hey, you're trying to protect young girls? You're trying to protect young girls in the United States? I have a good topic for you.
Right. No, do that. And also in all that, just hammer home the fact they're just so disgustingly gross in their ways of fighting, of sending so much hate toward the LGBTQ plus community. What are we doing here? This is just all so disgusting. And hammer home Epstein. Can't believe Adam is going on Newsmax. Well, I'm sure you'll do well, just like you did on CNN. Again, show some
and
love
then
for
we're
Adam.
talking about Washington Redskins versus the Commanders.
Oh my! Again, same concept. Why Donald Trump's talking about this is the other news. I forgot about this. Donald Trump is threatening to basically hurt or stop some deal that's going in for a new stadium for the Washington Commanders if they don't change their name back to the Redskins. What do we do? Why is the government involved in? Why is the executive branch and the president of the United States dealing with a private sports team and forcing them to make a decision about their name? That's not conservative at all. This is what I always go back to. It's like, what are we doing? That, number one. But number two, the point I'd make is like, really? That's what we're focused on? Not only with the Epstein files going on, but inflation is rising now. We see money is flowing into Europe from, businesses are not confident in the future of the American economy. So they're all flowing tons of dollars into Europe. Consumer confidence is extremely low. Like, people are still struggling with the issues Donald Trump promised. His whole campaign was about the economy, and he's done nothing for it. What about 90 deals? You want to talk about the Washington Commanders? What about 90 deals in 90 days? How many deals do we have, Adam? Is it 90?
Nope.
It's not 90. I
don't even think it's 3.
Is it 50? Is it 40? It's not even 5, dude. Like, what are we doing? Why are we like the ability to pivot on these culture, frankly, bullshit issues to try to distract from what Americans actually care about? And furthermore, why, as somebody who believes in bigger government as a Democrat, I am not supportive of the federal government getting involved in issues about a sports team's name. That's not their role.
Holy distraction, Batman. Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, honestly, the Redskins name is pretty racist overall. Not pretty. It's very racist. Everybody, I don't even know, is that a word we can even say? I don't know. But it was the name of the team for a while. And people came out and said, this is just a racist slur. Like, the name of the team is just a straight up slur. Right. And now Donald Trump is dying on the hill that the slur should be back. And you know what he tweeted out? Redskin tweet Trump 2013. He said something in 2013. He was like, listen, he said in 2013, governments should not be telling the Washington Redskins to change their name.
What the fuck?
Our country has far bigger problems. Focus on them, not this nonsense. That's what I'm going to bring up on the, like, dude, what in the absolute hell? And Newsmax obviously won't bring up this part, but Donald Trump said the president shouldn't be talking about the Washington Redskins. There's always a tweet for it.
There's always a tweet. Does the Newsmax host usually get, like, are you usually like 2v1ing, 2v5ing, like?
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun. Okay. It's usually, and here's the thing. A lot of people in chat were like, just don't even do it. But it's really good practice, and it's really good. It's like, if you're a sports player and you're going into these big matches or whatever, I'm just like a basketball player, the same thing. No, but sports players,
you gotta be prepared. Bro.
You gotta practice. You gotta do the smaller matches. You gotta do scrimmages. You gotta do stuff. You gotta take some losses.
That's right.
You gotta have some embarrassing moments.
And practice in the dark when no one's watching on Newsmax because they get, they get,
literally no one's watching.
Yeah, I don't know who is watching. I mean, my grandparents are like mad. They don't even watch Newsmax. We should look up Newsmax's. No, but you gotta practice for then when you go on CNN, you're ready to you're ready to cook.
Yeah. So then I have the frameworks for the arguments and everything.
That's right. Newsmax had a viewership of an increase in 50% increase in total viewers in the first quarter of 2025 compared to the same period last year.
They must have.
Specifically, they reached 33.6 million viewers in Q1 2025.
We get more viewers than Newsmax by far. You guys are like the Mockler Media channel. So in one quarter, they pulled 36 million views. In one quarter, we pulled like 200 million views. We like 5 times their fucking.
That's my boy.
We are bigger than Newsmax as an organization.
That's right. That's why you're just going in, cooking in the dark.
On that note, I think we can begin to wrap down the stream.
Yeah.
It was a great one, and we're going to be coming back Friday. I have a few asks really quickly. First of all, go check out Chris D. Mowry on YouTube, Chris D. Mowry on TikTok, Instagram. He's on all platforms. And then my ask to you is, go back to my channel, check out that CNN video that I posted. It's at 1.1 million views. I'm going to try to get it to 1.2, 1.3 million views, send it around to some producers and say, look it. Digital media is the future, and this is the proof. Yep. If you want access to digital media, then we can have a mutually beneficial relationship. The thing that we're trying to build is the proof of concept that digital media is the future, and we are proving that every single day by beating Newsmax, by pulling millions of views. So go check out that CNN video. Go check out Chris Mowry. Go share everything around. I appreciate you all. And on Friday, we'll be live at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 100%. We appreciate all of you so much, like truly, for rocking with us. You guys are so kind. We love each and every one of you from the bottom of our hearts. And yeah, Friday is going to be a good day, man.
I'm eternally grateful. You guys are all the best. Yeah. Someone said I'm watching on loop. I'll go watch it again. I'll go share it. I effing love you guys. Thanks for being the best. Thanks for being supportive as we're going through this journey. You guys are all the best, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Be safe, everyone. Mwah.